So one of the question that need to be addressed this afternoon is what would be the common mistake made in business partnership and how to avoid actually to solve the dispute. And this is very tricky question. Perhaps the speakers might share their perspective. We'd like to invite Dr. Nor Saidatul, Brother Umar, and Dr. Zalina.
Thank you very much, Dr. Syahirah. I think one of the just now brought by Brother Umar on sharing risk, right? Now, under the sustainability, it's shared prosperity. So sharing risk is very much in the concept of how you look at operations. If you are together managing the operations, it would be good if they will look at the risk management itself and try to look at the distribution of the risk so that there is an element of shared prosperity. So I believe the part where everybody probably have a wrong misconception on what is shared prosperity. Now, shared prosperity is not within, I said, within the system of the business model. It is in the ecosystem. So if you have a shared prosperity within your partners, within your clients, within your stakeholders, within the bankers, and so on. So the element of that sustainability goes beyond your business model. But if you're looking at shared risk, so shared risk, again, is more on how you manage your operations and whether there is an avenue for people to reduce that risk. But of course, under shared prosperity, you can have shared risk. Because, for example, right now we're talking about the waste management. Now, everybody knows that they have to control their waste. They got to understand the risk of that waste with respect towards the into the entire ecosystem. If everybody's risk is going to be related to someone else's risk, that is where you can see it's all interrelated inside the ecosystem. So again, the partnership that we talk here, it is not a formal partnership. It's an ecosystem partnership. If we want to be part within the environment where we all live together peacefully and we have a smart partnership, or partnership imposed under the SDGs and also under the SDG 16, which is peace. So if you have that shared prosperity concept in the ecosystem, that partnership that you're talking about as the trust, the integrity, and the wisdom should itself display the honesty of us being together in the ecosystem. That is where I think a lot of people are still having that selfishness on staying together. They all want to take the what they call the fight is let the best man win, let the those who the concept of capitalism, right? Whoever can benefit more, let it benefit more. And that is where I think the Islam doesn't support that kind of situation. We want to have prosperity for everyone to benefit in the ecosystem, not having equal, how to call our revenue, but there is no discrimination in terms of the opportunity for people to benefit as well in the ecosystem. That's why the 17th SDG itself, it has its Sharia compliance in relationship to what will be the principle of values, the principle of humanity, and the principle of our livelihood. I hope that helps to kickstart the panel discussion.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Nor Saidatul. So, Brother Omar, as a business who are in the industry, how can we maintain, or istiqamah, that is the word that might be the challenging part, how to be istiqamah in making decision that is, as what Dr. Nor Saidatul mentioned, shared responsibility. It should be shared by all the board of directors. Perhaps from your perspective.
Yes, I think, thank you, Dr. Nor Saidatul. It starts with the mindset. It's very, very critical. And in our space, in investments, especially not so common investments, not so mainstream investments, the mindset is a big challenge sometimes. Because of difference of mindsets, if things are not clear, as was also stated by the verses of the Quran and Hadith earlier, then there tends to be gaps in viewpoints or perspectives, especially if things don't go as planned, or things don't. Sometimes they are going in a sense as planned, but not as expected by one of the parties. Right. So there are multiple dimensions to this. I think very important when it comes to transactions and business is while we want to be positive and we all look for a good outcome, it's also necessary to think of the worst case scenario. Right? If things go sideways or go down or go bad, then what happens next? Right? And sometimes I think people tend to shy away from that in general because they want to be positive, which is a good thing. But at the same time, to establish a sustainable relationship in business or trade, that needs to be looked at because there's always a chance that things will not work out as expected. And if you only plan for things going smoothly, then when things don't go smoothly, then that's where problems tend to arise, right? That's where disputes come. So one thing maybe I want to just touch on is people today have short attention spans and in general, right? And we want things quick, easy, immediate. So and when you're online, things you tend to agree to things or just tap and agree or tick and agree so you can go on to the next step. So while that may cover whichever party is requesting for the acknowledgement or the agreement, while that may cover that party legally, it's also, I feel, very important to make sure as much as possible that the other party understands what they are thinking, right? Because usually people don't read. And it's not, it's the responsibility of the person agreeing to read what they're agreeing to. But we also know that the human or user behavior today is as such, right, where people tend not to read. So it is in the interest of both parties, in my view, to make sure that that agreement is understood, which means that, and this is the difficult part, for example, when we speak to investors, and we're looking for revenue, right? We're looking for sales, we're looking for transactions, we're looking for closures of investment activity. But we try our best to make it very clear that what you're doing, what you're investing in, is super high risk, right? It is a high risk investment. It's an alternative investment, even though legally we are covered by all the documentation. But you need to come in with your eyes wide open, because what we found is that when people don't really understand, and when it comes to in our experience, because we are also branded as Islamic, as at least this part of the world. So a lot of investors say, "Oh, you're Islamic. I trust you. I'll put in my money." Right? So we'll have to tell them to take a step back, or at least in our material, in our communication, in our investor relations, make them think about what they're doing and not just do it out of trust or believing that something halal is always good. Right? So halal is good, but there's still risk. Yeah. So I think that the mindset and understanding and education component is just as important as the clarity of the documentation and the legal aspects of things. Yeah, so this is more of a preventive measure to prevent disputes in the future when things don't go as planned.
Okay, thank you very much, Brother Umar. So we don't have much time. Dr. Zalina, as a researcher who have conduct a lot of perspective on halal, what would be the challenging part? As what Brother Umar Munshi mentioned just now is about the mind setting, okay, and Dr. Nor Saidatul mentioned about the what you call the sustainability. So what would be the challenging part in conducting halal?
I would go to the very basic issue with choosing the wrong partner. This has always been the case from my experience. I mean, I'm not an entrepreneur myself, but often individuals find that they have partnered with someone who has a different set of goals or the very different manner of conducting business. So I mean, this could be a challenge, and normally it won't work in the end. So even you have halal business, I mean, doing business in halal industry or not, this is very important elements that you need to consider before embarking into a business. And another one is sometimes people don't use or not using one's individual strength in the partnership business. So because partners frequently don't make the time and effort to determine one's strength and weaknesses at the outset. So one of the advantages of a partnership is using the skill and strength of each individual partner. One maybe is good on halal business, but another one maybe have a good capital or a good advisory or have tremendous experience on financial and whatnot. So leverage on both aspects of strength. So it will be better for the business to sustain. That's about it, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zalina. So we have a few minutes. So perhaps final word from the speakers, Dr. Nor Saidatul, Brother Omar, Dr. Zalina, on our topic today, which is very broad but very engaging and interesting. Dr. Nor Saidatul, perhaps
Doctor, you're,
the mic.
you're
Mute.
Yeah, my final key takeaway for today is, as I said, anybody who wants to get into business, having just the mindset of a product and having it halal, it will not go very far unless every components of the elements of that thinking through, yeah, as completing the real journey of the truthfulness of doing that process itself, whether it has a meaning of the niat, yeah, the niat to complete whatever the ibadah that brings you to the concept of halal. Now, before this, people have not heard about the word halal because people would think that, you know, there is the integrity element that everybody one knows. You have to do it with the goodness of everybody's mindset. You do it for the goodness of everyone. But the halal come in because people need to already know the detail and learn the detail, learn the governance, learn the do's and the don'ts and so on. So it become very, very academic. But on the other hand, it is a practices. Also a practitioner who are embracing the integrity of halal is also trying to make sure that their branding, their reputation are also related to the concept of the true meaning of halal. That's why you see now many international companies, be it in Korea, in Japan, or in US, wherever, they're now learning the word halal and branding their product with the true meaning of halal. While we have our own Muslim brothers and sisters who are the true believer of Islam, but not truly understanding the true meaning of halal. So this is where I believe that the concept of halal is probably still very shallow among the Muslims, and probably for those who have seen halal as beyond profit, they have taken halal as the as I said just now, beyond profit, and it's already going into social justice. So, and it's going into the ecosystem where they can see halal as bring out more values to the community, not just into the concept of product process profit. That is where the embracement of halal has gone to Toyiban. That is where we believe that I think the one that can showcase the true meaning of halal entrepreneurs or sustainable entrepreneurs is for those people who have got the real experience to showcase it, not just through the learning and through the structured way or to the meaning of, you know, through classroom learning and all that, but from people who has really understood it and display the real meaning of it. That is why I call the Rafida School of Entrepreneurship is something that we need to find out and showcase. It's because learning through books, turning to the concept of, whatever that is stated is not transferring it enough to the people to embrace the true meaning. That's what I want to say.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nor Saidatul. Brother Omar.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Saidatul, I definitely have to reach out to you to work with your school. Because just to share, if everyone, Hassan VC, the word Hassan means good, right? So Hassan VC, we are an early stage accelerator, and we train and teach early stage startups and invest in them. And we teach them, of course, the basics of running a business and all that. But beyond that, also how to start off on the right foot with the right intention, with the right mindset, with the right framework, right? And why, maybe the only thing I want to add is why is halal so powerful, in my view, in my understanding, is one thing is, humanity is such that ethics change or evolve over time. Society changes, right? What's acceptable today may not be acceptable 5 years ago, may not be acceptable or deemed to be moral 10 years ago. Societies change, and typically it changes based on what's useful or what agendas there are or what desires we have. Now, halal, the basics of halal are fixed. It doesn't change. The basics are enshrined in the Quran and Hadith, right? So with that foundation, halal is very strong because that part doesn't change. Of course, as the world evolves and changes, the implementation, the context, and everything, there's a degree of flexibility there, but as long as it doesn't compromise the fundamentals, right? So that framework, I believe, is very powerful for humanity because we have that bedrock, that foundations that do not change, that remain as it is, as it has been for thousands of years. And then, we build on it to create something that's halal and, as Dr. mentioned, something that's also tayyib as well. Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Umar. Dr. Zalina?
Right. I would like to reiterate both speakers. I always believe in giving education and awareness. And of course, halal, people pursue it probably from Islamic principle or only from profit principle, but it's toyiban after all. It's something to do with safety and quality of products. So non-Muslim can also ensure their safety and also the goodness and the toyiban aspect, the quality aspects as well important to them. So another one is education. To give education is difficult. It's also challenging at the moment because Malaysia, for example, it's probably okay, but to be given education and full awareness about halal to everyone at the global level is something that we need to think about as well. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zalina, on behalf of the organizer who has given me the signal to end the session. Alhamdulillah, I would like to thank all the speakers, Dr. Nor Saidatul, Brother Umar, Dr. Zalina, for sharing their insightful on the issues of business ethics in the halal industry. On behalf of the organizer of the 5th International Halal Conference, which is patronaged by SMIC, we'd like to thank all the speakers as well as the listeners, ladies and gentlemen. Hope to see you in the next session, inshallah. So I'm signing off, Syahirah Abdul Shukor, the moderator for today. Do apologize for any shortcomings. Salam Ramadan from Malaysia. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.